Hello, and welcome to 505, summer of 2016. I'm Peter Webster, and I thought I would record a welcome video to all of you. I haven't met really many of you in person. I hope to as the semesters grind away at USC. And thank you for taking this summer class. If you find that your circumstances change and you want to take my fall version of this class, feel free to let me know. It will open up room for many others who have said that they wanted to take this class this summer. I actually honestly think the fall and spring in-person versions of this class are far more effective, and we get a chance to talk about in depth about materials in class and the readings. But I know many of you have difficulties in scheduling this class during the academic year, so I understand that it's a logical choice for a summer offering. This is the second summer I've done this class, and so what I've done is to take the summer before and actually redone a lot of the thinking about how the class went based on feedback, so I hope this version will be acceptable to you and worth your time. I feel very deeply about this topic, the idea of offering a glimpse into music teaching and learning scholarship for all Doctor of Musical Arts students in performance and composition at Thornton. I think it's an extraordinarily great opportunity for you to get a feeling for the field. It's quite clear to me that all of you will be involved in teaching of some sort. I suppose it's clear to you too, and many of you will already have done a great deal of teaching. So this will be a nice add-on, I think, to what you've done before and what you'll certainly do in the future. I know you've been told that when you take your first college teaching job, if that's what you're looking for, it's likely that you will not be teaching only your particular specific area, but you'll also be doing work in some of perhaps the academic fields that you've chosen, and also some of the elective fields. And future employers are very interested in that kind of diversity. So understanding as much as you can about the teaching process and how you feel about it, your philosophy, techniques, various kinds of readings that will help you become a better teacher, of course, is the whole point of this class. So it doesn't reside only in this course. There are lots of other things that you can do with us here at Thornton to explore that, but I'll let you, of course, decide your pathway on this, and know that myself and my colleagues are always available in our department to help you. I thought what I would do in this opening video is to try to quickly give you a glimpse of how the website is set up, because the Blackboard site is crucial to your success in this course, because it's the major way you're dealing with the materials. And ordinarily, I would walk you through the website in a hands-on, in-person course, but perhaps this video will allow you to be a little more comfortable in what you will be doing. Certainly, you've gotten this far, you've seen the video, you're watching the video, perhaps you've already gone through some of the aspects of the website. Certainly, you will have profited by reading the syllabus, which I've either sent to you as an attachment, or that you're now encountering as part of the Blackboard. It's really important for you to really read that carefully and understand any questions that you have, because when we meet together in the first few days of the class online in our Skype session, that's the opportunity for you to ask me any initial questions that will be necessary for you to succeed in the course. Any time during the way the summer progresses, if there's a confusion or you're feeling frustrated by what you're supposed to do, please shoot me an email and say, Webster, I don't get this, you're not clear, I don't understand. Don't rely on someone else necessarily, just come to me, and I'm not bothered by it at all, and I'll help you as best I can. So, in the first announcements section of the website, you'll see some things that I will give during the summer, some things that are important. There's a welcome there now, but I'll use the announcements area to do something particularly special if I think there's an event coming up, or I ran across something that I really think you should know about. You can see that announcement, and that will appear every time you open the site. The next link in the website, as you probably know, is the welcoming video, which you've discovered now. And then there's the syllabus, and I've placed that both as a doc file and as a PDF. So those are all those are available for you if you want to do it. Right off the bat, Microsoft Word is kind of the default word processing program that you'll use for the course, for giving the materials and for working out ideas and so forth. If that's not the word processor you use, no problem. If it's Pages, that's fine. If it's some other, like a Microsoft Word, a Windows-based application that I don't know about or something, any word processor is fine. Just be sure that when you submit materials to me, you save it either in three formats: the docx, and RTF. Now, the RTF is always available in every word processor. It allows me to get away from the native format of whatever word processor you're using. I resist you sending me things as PDF files only because I can't give you comments. They don't appear in our system in a way that I can edit and sort of work with. So avoid the PDF for the submission of all materials. It's either the docx, or the format called RTF, which is rich text format that every word processor supports. Okay, with that in mind, the next link in the website, and maybe you can follow along here if you've got the video open, and the website is the weekly course forums, and that's really the heart of the day-by-day work for you in responding to the various readings. Now, in my syllabus, I try to explain in some detail how you will deal with the requirement for the forums and the reaction to the readings that we're doing. And I think it's pretty clear. I worked on that pretty hard to step by step to do it. But you still may want to talk to me if you're still unclear about that. But essentially what you're doing when you click on that is it opens up a series of folders by week. And when you click on that particular folder to open it up, it shows you a couple of things. Actually, more than a couple, maybe 3 things. So what you'll do simply is to click on the title of that folder. It will open up and you can see the contents. There's right away a forum that says say hello to your classmates, and what that is, if you click on it, is simply a chance for you to create a thread. When you click on that, it will say create thread up in the left hand corner, and that's your cue to click, and you should title that with your name. And then in the space underneath that, where the little box for the text, you can enter just a paragraph about yourself. That way everybody in the course can see everybody else. There are about 13 people in the course, so it might be kind of fun to see who else is taking the class and what they're doing. So that would be one of the first things that I would like you to do. Nothing major. You can see I put mine up there, a little background of my college teaching career, and all the things that I've done in my past are there. You can always go to my website and see all that boring stuff. But that's just a capsule of things that would be helpful. I want to say also that when you look at the interface, the box where you're typing, if you look above it, there are several little icons that represent the content that you can place in any of these forums. And they include, obviously, text that you write online, but then you can also highlight that. You can create a link to something else, or you can attach a file, or you can include a graphic of some sort. Like, for instance, on this thread, you might want to include a picture of yourself, just to so people know who you are, and you might have a little small picture that you like a lot. You can put that in this thread, and you can embed that very nicely. Take some time to look through those. If you hover your mouse over the top of each one of those little icons, it will tell you what it does. So, for instance, if you want to do a link, you can actually type in a concept, highlight it, and then go up and say create a link, and it brings up a dialog box, and you can put a URL in there if you want your classmates to read your resume or see something online. This idea of adding media to your forums is highly recommended, and it will make the whole thing come much more alive. You might experiment with that just to sort of give your sort of feedback, and it'll make the experience this summer that much more rich for everybody to be able to go through. Okay, so back to the actual forums themselves, or the content in each of the week. Besides that opening forum, the very next thing you see is the first topic, and that says Topic 1, teaching about teaching, thinking about teaching, and the readings. Now, the readings are scattered throughout the course. You can download them as one big set. If you look at on the left at your tabs, there's a thing that's called Readings the Full Set, and you can download over a 5 or 6 minute period the entire set of PDFs for the course. They're all numbered according to topics, so you can have them. But if you want to not do that and simply read them as you go, then that's what the attached files link is. And when you click on that, those download, in this case, in PDFs, because we're not editing those, you're just reading them. And they'll come up on your screen and be centered right there, and you can read them. You can also, of course, download them to your desktop if you want to read them on the train or something like that, somewhere else. And if you don't have an internet connection. But that's the point with the readings. Then right underneath that, you can see there is Topic 1, Thinking About Teaching Forum. And that's the place where you're going to do your weekly postings and replies. You might want to skip that for the moment and go to the second topic of the week. In this case, in the first week, it's practicing and listening readings, and read those so that you have the full set for both topics under your belt before you start to post and do the replies. And while I'm on that topic, the idea is every week that you will submit one original post of, say, 2-3 paragraphs. You create a thread and actually do a post on that you would like to respond to on one of the topics across the readings. The other requirement is to do a reply, but if you do a reply, make sure that it's in the other topic. So I want to make sure that you respond to me each week in both topics. 1, an original post, and 2, a reply to somebody else's post. So the way I evaluate your involvement each week in these readings is to look to see that you've done that minimum work. Now, I don't want to restrict you to this. In fact, I would rather you contribute an original post and an original reply all over the place. So you might want to do, as a goal, a original post and a reply in both topics. And I welcome that, and I think you would get a lot more out of the course if you did it that way. So back to the actual forum itself. In both the front page of the forum, and then when you go deeper into it and create and deal with each in each thread and so forth, you'll see these study questions. The one in this case, there's a study question for topic 1. In the first week, you'll see study questions related to Stuart Gordon's wonderful chapter, and my own chapter on Michael Bird, a professor of percussion who now works at Eastman and was my good colleague for years at Northwestern. So I wrote a profile about him, so I wrote a chapter about that. So I put questions that might prompt you for your original posts. In no way should you feel restricted by those questions, but you might find that you'll be inspired by them, and that would be a chance for you to be able to organize your post along that way. If you choose to go off script, and create your own posting, which is absolutely fine, do tell me what reading it relates to and what your topic is before you start to do the post, so that we all understand where you're coming from when you write that sort of thing. The whole idea is to get you, as a community, everyone 13 people, sort of engaged in talking about the ideas, and so that we learn from each other. So that's what happens in these weekly tabs that deal with content and forums. But in addition to that, I've tried to put in media additions. So, for instance, in topic 1, I have Evelyn Glennie, a very interesting person who does a lot of work with listening as a percussionist, and she has a wonderful background of hearing impairment, but she's a fabulous percussionist, and so it's an interesting video that I thought I would share with you. The other one is online from a YouTube source. It's Alex Ross, in an interview about 9 minutes or so about his book, The Rest is Noise, and so that sort of fits into also the listening field. So various topics I will highlight with clips in the course so that you feel like you're actually seeing something of interest. It won't happen all the time, but as you finish the week, you might want to, or even before you start, watch the videos that I provide so that you'll know a little bit more about the topic that I have in mind that we're talking about. Okay, now one more word about the topics. I've chosen them in 2 sets. There's a first set, the first four 4 topics or 6 topics are in a sort of general conceptual frame, and then as the course ends in the summer, I get more specific on things in music teaching and learning, more specific things, and you can see how I've organized that. It's a snapshot of our field. As you know, music teaching and learning has been part of music education for years, and higher ed and so forth. So there's a huge literature about how we teach, and so this is only a snapshot, but it might give you some ideas for your future work. That's the whole point, really, of the class. Okay, so after that sort of big section on the weekly content, I provide you a quick snapshot of the weekly schedule, so you can kind of see what's due when and how these topics are all reviewed. That's something you can download and simply print and put it on your wall or something like that. But then the next 2 are important. They're the resources and the place where you're going to submit both your 3 short papers and your final paper. So there's a link there that talks about short papers. You click on that. The syllabus has the description of what I want, but so does the link. And you'll click on that. For instance, I'm going to do it now, short papers, and then I'm going to pretend that I'm submitting my first paper. I read it. I've written it offline on Microsoft Word. I've got the references. Everything is cool. I proofread it. Everything looks nice. Now I'm ready to submit it. I go to where it says Short Paper 1, Memorable Teacher, due on May 31st. And I will click on that, and then that will lead to a place where you can attach the file. And it gives you a dialog that allows you then to go ahead and attach file. It's under Submission, Assignment Submissions. You browse your computer, you find the file you've created, make sure it's a docx or RTF, and go ahead and send it in. You might want to also say something to me as an additional comment, like, I really hated this. Why did you have me do this? It's a stupid assignment. Or you might say something like, I learned a good deal about this. Or you might say something, I want to make sure you understand that the link and blah, blah, blah. And so special instructions to me or comments are more than welcomed. And then you submit, and you're off and running. It will then come into my system. I'll get it, I'll read it, and then when you want to see my comments and my grading, you see it in a little My Grades tab that comes in as part of your version of the website. Let me know if you have trouble finding my return stuff, and I'll try to help you walk through that. That's true now for the 3 short papers. Make sure you see when they're due. And then also the final paper, the very last day, actually it's the day after the class ends, is my deadline for that particular final paper. So my point in talking about this now is that it's important for you to manage your schedule. It's like preparing for a concert, preparing for a deadline. You need to be proactive in planning when you'll be doing these things. So I'm assuming you for doing something else this summer besides this class. So you like having fun, but you want to dedicate time, and you know that some weeks are going to be heavier than others. As you move toward the end, you will find that you need to budget more time. It's just the way courses work, right? Everything is open, by the way, so you can submit things before the deadline. You can even do the readings and the forum posts before they're due. If you want to get a head start on the class, front load stuff, please feel free to. Everything is open. There's no closing, or, well, there's closing. You can't do it after the deadline without penalty, but there is anytime you can do it early, that would be good. So feel free to do any of these things that way. If you're curious about my grading rubrics, you can take a look at that. It's there. I may use them actively as I evaluate. I may not. They're there for you to read, so you can see what I'm looking at in terms of the actual points that I award you. The next thing is the citation for readings, and this is just a document that contains, it's in your syllabus, but then it also is a separate download file that you can use when you want to cite a particular paper that's in the class or a chapter, and you don't want to struggle with APA. All the APA is done for you there. So you would just do the usual, like Reamer, 2007, and then put that reference then in the back of your paper, just like you would in an APA document. I've not included the reference sites in Chicago Manual of Style, but I have in the APA. So they're there for you to use. They also serve as models so that when you include, and I encourage this, other things outside of the class to bolster your points of view, I really love that because I can see you're engaged and really thoughtful about the literature that's available to you. Then make sure you cite that in the proper format for the APA. My feeling about the APA and Chicago Manual of Style is that you should use a course like this to really become comfortable with that citation, so you don't have to worry about it later on when you're doing a big long paper for another course, like a musicology course or something. You'll have that under your belt. You should already, from your master's and undergraduate, probably already have that. But if you don't, this is a chance. There's also help with APA in Chicago, which is my next tab. There's lots of sites that are out there. There's also sample papers that you can look at that are in each format, so you can get a kind of feeling for that. My contact information is there as my last tab really for you, and you're welcome to use that to help work. My Skype name is Pete Webster, and I will be sending that doodle around at the very beginning of the course for you to sign up for a 10 or 15 minute time period in your life where we can talk online and I can answer any questions that you have. You would come back to me in the middle of the course perhaps and talk to me about your paper proposal for your final. That's up to you. It's optional, but it's there for you to use when the time comes. Last point. This has to do with the tools. The tools are open for you and you won't use many of them, but you might use the Send Email to tab. And why I like that so much is that you can send email to all people in the class, just like I would if I were communicating with you, to say, hey guys, I ran across this great article in the New Yorker magazine about the topic we're doing this week. And you would then reference it with a citation. Or take a look at this YouTube video that I actually found. You can include the URL for it. That really is something that Webster ought to think about putting into this class. Or you might find something else going on in your life, like a concert or an upcoming event that would really relate to everyone's perspective. I really hope that you'll send at least one of these around to your colleagues and myself. The reason I feel that way is I believe in this concept of community of scholarship, that we learn as much and even more from our peers than we learn from the teacher. In many ways, I think I'm providing a structure for people to learn all about the topic from everybody else. So I'm really anxious for you to take that philosophy and put it into practice and use that same philosophy in your own teaching later on, where you use everyone's knowledge of the people in front of you to help develop the topic area. Nobody knows everything about anything. Every topic is widely understood by people in different ways. Even a 5 or 6-year-old child coming into a kindergarten class, as we know from research, knows more about music than any we can possibly imagine. It's just a matter of tapping into it and getting them to think about stuff and to contribute and talk about it. So that's why that's there. So I hope you'll take advantage of it. Okay, well, I blabbed along enough. I'm going to end this video now and save it and post it for you to be able to use. And I hope to get to know you in the first week of class. These weeks go from, as I pointed out, Wednesday to Tuesday, so it's a little bit unusual, but you'll get used to it as we go forth. So, bye for now.